everybody. How are you? It's me, ASMR Classic 1, I think we are. And it's been a little while. Been fairly busy doing stuff. I hope you are too. It's Halloween as we're recording this. A very big holiday in America. It's becoming fairly big here, I think, since a lot of the films, American films. But yeah, I shan't be tricking or treating. Well, I might have a treat later on. Might go for a pint. We'll see. But I thought what I'd do is share this with you. I'm still looking around. Thank you very much, by the way, for your suggestions for short stories. And I'm going to take those up and hopefully get on with those pretty soon. We're also probably going to go back and do a little more Charles Dickens Christmas. Excuse me. And that should be yo-ho-ho fun. And just to remind you, of course, that the reason we're doing this is that we're hoping to get to 1,000 followers. Followers? Yes. And then I think we earn something for this channel. And because we're basically a not-for-profit charity based in London, what I'm hoping is that it's kind of a bit new age, and any of the profits that we get, if we do make any, because obviously I'm not charging anything, we're going to invest in writing, and hopefully new writing with an ASMR slant to it. You should probably maybe aware, if you've been here before, I got into ASMR when I became an early developer when I got COVID, when that hit a few years ago. And I tend to listen most nights to help me drift off to sleep. So I hope this is fairly relaxed as well. And I wanted to just share this with you. Because let me move this out of the way. I've got my drink there, actually. It's orange juice. But this is a book that actually I got a few years ago. And you can see it's had pencil marks on it, not from me. There's always something kind of glorious about an older book. Obviously, because it's an older book. But also, I kind of like the fact that, unlike anything digital, and I am, as you can probably imagine, a fairly big fan of digital products and e-books and stuff, but there's just something completely lived in, as you can see, with this book. It was published in 1920, I think, and it's been around and it'll have a few hands since then. So I thought I might just share this with you briefly. And as you can see, it's called The Cloister and the Hearth, an abridged version by Charles Reed, and it's published by Longman's Class Books of English Literature. And I thought we might just have a quick little look in, because I've been in here for a while. I also quite like the fact that there's a list of other books that they do in the back. I think, if I remember correctly. Oh yes. Longman's Class Books of English Literature. Alcott's Little Women, Louise May Alcott, I imagine. Allen's Heroes of Indian History and Stories of Their Times. Wow. Anderson's English Letters Selected for Reading in Schools. Fantastic. Ballantyne's The Coral Island, abridged. Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. Cook, Captain, Voyages. Wow. Defoe's Robinson Crusoe, abridged with illustrations. Dickens' A Christmas Carol, of course. Dickens, Selections From, with illustrations. I think we might have one of those books. In fact, I think we may have had a little reading of some of the stories. Oops, let me move this out of the way, sorry. I'm using my phone as a camera, as you can probably tell. Not the most sophisticated of technologies. bodge it up with this thing here. But anywho, but let's just have a quick look at the introduction, because it's quite an interesting introduction. I seem to remember. I also love the marks and stuff, in that they're kind of life marks, if you know what I mean. Just come from it being in the world for a long time. No idea what that 13 is. Why would we? The Cloister and the Hearth. And again, no idea what that is. Looks like initials, maybe. TF, is that perhaps? So it's been scraped out anyway. So whoever TF was. Yeah. TP, who knows? And I love these older books as well for their illustrations. I mean, look at that. It's glorious, isn't it, really? What's the corruption? He drew his long knife. I can see why. Chased by a bear. Is that another bear down there? Oh, little bird. Yeah, I kind of love these illustrations. Would they have been pencil, ink? And then, of course, the frontispiece. Longman's Class Books of English Literature. The Cloister and the Hearth by Charles Reed, with an introduction and notes by J.C. Allen. Abridged edition. And you can see here the publisher, Longman, Green and Co. Paternoster Row, 39, Paternoster Row, London. This was in the days before postcodes or zip codes. 4th Avenue and 30th Street, New York. Bombay, Calcutta and Madras. Wow. 1920, and all rights reserved. So, I'll have to be a bit careful. I'm not sure if it's still in print now. Would this count as a promotional video? Might do. They certainly haven't paid for anything in this content. And that there, of course, if you notice, that's actually a price. That's 2 shillings. Pre-decimal days. 2 shillings, which would be... What would 2 shillings be? Blimey. 20 pence. Would it be? I'm just trying to think. It's been a while since we went decimal in the United Kingdom. I have no idea what that would be in American money, dollars. If it was 20 pence here, would that be like 30 cents? I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter. But I thought we'd just have a look at this little introduction. From the man. I hope you're okay with that little bird bit there. I've got to get rid of it. Okay, we'll live with that, I think. Introduction. What constitutes a good story? Oh, hang on, let me see if I can get some more light in here. This might help a little bit. Oh, does it? Probably yes. What constitutes a good story? First of all, the story itself must be interesting. It must have a good plot. In the second place, the characters must be interesting. They must behave and speak naturally so that the reader is led to believe that they are real beings. They need not necessarily be admirable, for life is composed of both good and bad people, and no one in real life is wholly good or wholly bad. Ain't that the truth? The story may contain many or few characters. Their number does not matter. Whether few or many, good, bad or indifferent, they must be interesting. And to be interesting, they must be true to life. Stories may be written of the present time or of a past time. If a story, besides being interesting as a story, also gives a faithful picture of some former time, it has an added interest. Human nature has been the same in every period. People have loved, hated, marvelled at new inventions, been loth to change their convictions, to change their convictions through all the centuries. The nature of human beings is constant. If men of today are sufficiently angry, they settle their quarrels by fisticuffs. In former times they settled their quarrels by the sword. The difference lies not in the nature of passion, but in the method of expression. Today's civilization has had its effect upon us, taught us to modify our passions and to exercise restraint over ourselves. The further back in time, the ruder are the manners of that time, and the rougher is life generally. Instead of wearing woolen clothes, people would wear leather jerkins and carry a bow in their hands and a sword by their sides. They had not arrived at the stage of refinement that required night clothing in bed or forks at meals. In the time with which this story deals, the 15th century, few people could read, and what books existed were written by hand in the Latin language. Good calligraphy, therefore, was held in high esteem in most countries of Europe and elsewhere. The land was governed by kings and princes who had the power of life and death over their subjects. Roads were rough tracks that made their way from the villages of cultivated valleys over wild moors and through woods haunted by wolves, bears, and other wild animals. There were no police to protect the public, and bands of robbers infested the roads to waylay and rob the traveller. Arms were necessary for self-defence, not only against beasts of prey, but against human beings who preyed upon their kind. At the first alarm in those days, a man's hands flew to his sword hilt. The story depicts Europe before the days of Martin Luther and Erasmus. So there was as yet no Reformed Church. The Roman Catholic Church was predominant throughout Western Europe, with which the book deals. Most of the scholars of these times were monks, the monasteries and convents being the homes of learning, and as Latin was the tongue of the Roman Catholic faith, it was also the language of scholarship. I'm having a bit of a cough, but I've managed to get rid of that black thing. Just a bit more of this. The Cloister and the Hearth has made for itself a high place in English literature. And if we measure it by the standards we have laid down, we shall see that it is entitled to hold that place. The plot is good, for the outcome of the story is not apparent until the end is reached. Curiosity and interest excited in the early part of the story are kept up until the last page is read. And on closing up the book, the reader feels that the characters, whether good or bad, have received their deserts. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? The chief characters do not, it is true, obtain the happiness that they desired, but hopes and ambitions have often to be modified in real life. And so it is in the pages of this book. The deaths of the hero and heroine are sad, but so are all deaths. And death is a change that all must face. Therefore, why should it be excluded from a story because it is sad? The villains of the story also receive their deserts, modified by the charity of the hero and heroine, wherein there is grace as well as truth in the story. Well, that's a bit of a giveaway, isn't it? But it's an interesting introduction. And particularly if you're a writer, there's a lot of truth in that, isn't there? I'm not sure when he wrote it. I won't go all the way through. Let's have a look. If there's a date. No, there isn't. Although we do find out that the author... where are we? Yes. The author was... his most successful plays were Masks and Faces and the Lion's Mail. His greatest book was The Cloister and the Hearth. Almost as well known, being It Is Never Too Late to Mend, already mentioned, and Hard Cash. The story from Masks and Faces was entitled Peg Wolfington, after one of his characters. In 1879, his old and dear friend, Mrs. Seymour, died, and Charles Reade never recovered from the blow that her death caused him. He died in 1884 at Shepherd's Bush. Kind of sad, isn't it? Shepherd's Bush is, in fact, just down the road books there anymore. There are some illustrations in here. I'm not sure if I'll be able to land upon them randomly, as I've looked through this for a long time. I've not actually read it completely yet either. It's one of the problems, isn't it? Wow, is it a problem? Displacement theory. I'm so busy writing, I haven't got time to read. That's not the best look for a writer, is it? But anyway, I just thought I'd perhaps share that with you. I hope you've found it perhaps a little bit relaxing. Yeah. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd be very grateful if you wouldn't mind pressing the little button. Where is it? Down here. And I think there's something else you need to press, but I think you know more about that than I do. So we'll leave it there for now. As I say, I wanted to briefly share that with you. If there's any particular books that you'd like us to have a look at as well, like me to have a look at, us as the royal we, then please do let me know in the comments. And once again, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope you found this relaxing. And as always, we shall finish with Charles Dickens' famous quote. Bless us all, everyone. Thanks a lot.